What's up, guys? Diego Sultan here with Listener's Notes. Today we're going to be talking about Future's new self-titled album. So, in the words of rap critic, let's talk about Future. In my time as a hip-hop fan, Future has always been there because I started off as someone who liked rock young, and then I got into hip-hop. And really, Future's been doing this trap thing for a long time. He's been a big influence in how everything has changed. And the one album I really look to is Dirty Sprite 2, because that's one of the first albums where I've really seen an intoxicating vibe really implemented post Kid Cudi in mainstream hip-hop, and it was replicated later by Danny Brown in a much better way. But when you look at Dirty Sprite 2, that is one of the better trap albums to come out in the genre, especially recently. And Future himself still hasn't been able to top something like that. But one thing I've noticed after Dirty Sprite 2, and it's something that you can just attribute to being a part of mainstream trap, and the fact that his sound on Dirty Sprite 2, it clicked. That's what's in now. That's what people want from him. Because of that, that's what every album sounds like. It's a worse version of Dirty Sprite 2. He dropped this Purple Rain mixtape, which was forgettable. The Evil album, which I think I listened to half of, and I said, no, I'm not going to do this. But then a year later, he comes back and drops this self-titled. Normally, a self-titled, to me, it pops. I'm like, wow, is he trying to say something? Like, is this a new Future? And then not to mention, there's these interviews talking about how he's changing his stuff up. He deleted everything on his Instagram. And I don't know, I was intrigued, and I really gave this thing a lot of tries. And I left really disappointed. Just right out the gate, one of my biggest problems with this album is with all of his music, and it's starting to just all sound the same. I'm going to compare this to Run the Jewels, because this is an example I've heard from Topaz Yates. He says that Run the Jewels, all their albums sound the same. And I can see where he's coming from, because they use the same style over and over again, but their sound always has these slight improvements, especially with what LP does. He manages to slowly add in different layers and different tones per album. Not to mention with their recent album, they added a lot more political lyrics and social commentary, but they've always had a sameness to their music. But for me, they're interesting. Their personality, it's vibrant, it's bombastic, it's charismatic. Even if it is similar, I still always want to take it in and listen to it, because they're just so unique and charismatic. Future, on the other hand, his personality really never had much of an impact on me. Even when I first heard him, that was one of the least interesting parts of his music, and it always will be. There's not much there in terms of substance. What is Future? He wears Gucci flip-flops. He does lean, but not really. He just says he does lean. And he is known for bad lyrics and auto-tune. That's really it. Now, that's not necessarily always been a hindrance to his music, because like I said, I liked Dirty Sprite 2. I think it's a good album. Not a great album, but a good album. And I think he could make another good album if he really tried to change his sound. But that's not going to happen, because this sound is going to sell. Going straight into the music, the beats on this album are so boring. Some of them don't even have bass. The intro song completely lacks bass. It lacks life. It's just a plain snare drum and rattling hi-hats. And you get that throughout the album. I think there were 3 beats that I listened to, and I was like, oh, okay, these are pretty good. The song Mask Off has this really nice flute sample, and then the songs POA and Poppin' Tags, they're genuine bangers. They go real hard. They have nice beat. Future rides the beat well, good flow, and that's it. Actually, the rest of this album doesn't have any bangers, because the beats don't really have much punch to them at all. It's just plain trap beats. I will say occasionally some of the loops they use are somewhat interesting, but they get stale within 20 seconds. They aren't meant to be the substance of the song. Sadly, the producers here really didn't give Future their best beats. They really gave some plain, uninteresting trap beats. Now I could argue that maybe I'm just getting old of trap, because I do start to feel that as I hear these same sounds over and over again. It just gets tiresome to me, so maybe I'm just getting sick of this sound. and everyone else isn't. And that's fine. If you guys enjoy that, by all means. But still, I think I like a trap album. If he were to switch it up, I think I would like that trap album, is my point. But what I don't understand is, where are the bangers? That's what confuses me. Future generally makes this trap music, party anthem kind of music. Am I wrong? Is this not the kind of stuff you would play at a party? So why is it so flat and lifeless and without any energy? And it's not like I'm listening to these on something that doesn't have bass. My headphones have bass. These beats just don't kick at all, and it's kind of meh. And we get into Future as a vocalist, and he's just not interesting at all. In fact, all of the vocals on this album are interesting because he's the only vocalist here. He has no features on this album. He's gonna go double platinum with no features on this. This is just so bad. His personality gets dry within the first song. I'm just tired of hearing the same note being auto-tuned over and over and over. And I tend to ignore his lyrics. I do. Even with all this new hype that's been happening, like...
Honestly, do people even read his lyrics? If you listen to a rapper and you don't feel the need to read his lyrics, I guarantee he's probably not a good lyricist. And Future is not a good lyricist.
I just don't know what to get out of him. Normally, if I don't like the voice of an artist, I hope at least their lyrics are interesting, so I have something to pay attention to. But his lyrics are terrible. Honestly, these are not good lyrics. I don't understand why he was getting any praise at all for his lyrics, honestly. All I see is lines like this.
Most underrated lyricist right here. If you ain't Blink, then you looking like an owl. That's bars.
Or more lines like these.
Future managed here to talk about details that no one cares about, like how he says Lamborghini and his accountant. Then on the same song, he has a football line that isn't clever because it's just a plain football line. Wow, best lyricist right there. I'm on Molly and it's pink like Miss Piggy. Wow, Future really changed this time. He's really putting out quality.
Yeah, no. We're not gonna praise those, but it's fine. When I listen to a trap album like this, I generally try to disregard the lyrics as much as I can, unless there's a line that's so painful I can't not bring it up. But he doesn't have anything else vocally, and I'm wondering, what's his purpose on these beats? Why isn't this just a beat tape? Because Future's auto-tune croon is just getting so tired after one song, after hearing the same thing over and over again, that he really adds nothing to this, and this album just becomes so stale. I think out of context, I could listen to one of these songs and be like, oh, it's okay, it's fine. But hearing them one after another, just non-stop of the same thing over and over again, all these beats sounding the same, everything Future does sounding the same, I don't really know if I could do it. It's just torture. Now, I am wondering if this terrible album is the result of his lawsuit. There has been reports I've seen on Twitter, so it's not the most trustworthy thing in the entire world, that he lost a lawsuit to someone, and his next two albums, that guy gets 50% of his profits or something, so maybe he just put out a bad album on purpose. And then also my friend DM'd me that he's putting out another album in like a week or something, so obviously he's just throwing stuff out that isn't good so he can get this done with. That's what I'm hoping, because I don't see how anyone could listen to this and be like, oh, my best album, my best work, I should release this. I don't see it. I hope that's what it is. If it's not, well, I guess we have a couple, I guess he's just on a bad streak, I don't know. But yeah, to close this review up, I'm going to give Future's self-titled album a 23 out of 100, and yeah, I'm just disappointed in it.
So guys, I just wanted to touch on Future's other album, Hendrix, that came out this past Friday. Basically, after listening to the self-titled Future, which I thought was terrible, I really have zero interest in trying Hendrix. I won't. I mean, I've heard some people say it's a lot better. I've heard people say it's a lot more emotional. There's a lot more, the beats are a lot spacier and sadder, but I'm not interested in that. I'm done with Future. I've heard enough Future after listening to that self-titled album, which, if you've watched this whole review, you know I think is terrible. So, yeah, not gonna listen to it, not gonna review it. Luke James has a review up. The Needle Drop has a review up. Go watch theirs. That's really all I have to say about that. Thank you guys for watching. Diego Sultan here with Listener's Notes. If you like this, hit subscribe and like. Check out some of those links to the side of my head. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys real soon.